So some of you maybe remember our next speaker from last year, so everybody who was here last year's mind-blowing keynote at the Sofitel, Malcolm Werchota. Hi, Malcolm. Is one of the early pioneers in deploying generative AI in real business environments across both startups and large corporations. In his keynote, Stop Managing Tools, Start Leading Digital Employees, Malcolm will show us that the shift is not a tech one, it is a behavior one. AI is no longer just supporting teams, it is beginning to act, decide, operate within them. And that changes everything. How responsibility is distributed, how value is created, and what it actually means to lead when part of your workforce is no longer human. Malcolm, I'm so much looking forward to welcome. The virtual floor is yours. Malcolm Werchota.
Okay, cool. I wish I was with you today. It was planned. Life sometimes happens. Now we're going to do a check, a sound check. Just a second. So now you hear me and you see me. Now we're going to switch to another camera. And now you also hear me and see me, correct? Good. So let's go back to the premise that we were having. Let me share my screen and let's start a bit. Let's start with Copilot. You know your Copilot? You know the AI that everybody tells you to use, which everybody says is an absolute catastrophe. Let's see how many of you are really using Copilot. And I have two questions. Get out your phone, Menti, tac, tac. Who has a Microsoft Copilot license? Oh, but you need to get, yeah, I already see some people with yes, with a phone. Thank you. Oh, wow, 1924 people. Aline, how many people do you guys have over there? I thought it was like 5. Now I'm nervous. It's a big group. Look at this. Okay, so we see that roughly, let's say 3/5 of the entire room has Copilot licenses. And now let's ask you how good or bad Copilot is. So the next question is, I have a license, it's useful, somehow useful, it's not really useful, I don't have a license, or I don't care, or I don't know. I think what we will see is that many people will say, oh, it's somehow useful, or it's not useful. And I'm glad that we have a high psychological safety here today. Okay, good. I see overwhelmingly people say we have a license, but it's somehow useful. So we heard a lot of things today. We heard AI collaboration from Günther is a superpower. So let me show you how I collaborate with AI and how some companies, by the way, I just took the first 10 companies that I found on LinkedIn. And it was shocking to me that all of these companies, and I will show it to you because I wanted to just be prepared, you know, is when you open all of their job descriptions, it's fantastic. They want something which is called Microsoft Office. You need to be fluent in Microsoft Office. It's like my father is 75 years old. He can use Microsoft Office. But it doesn't matter if you open Balenciaga, Amazon. It doesn't matter if it's Mercedes, Sephora, but probably if I go in 90% of all the companies who are sitting here, everybody's still looking for people with a skill called Microsoft Office. And I'm like, bro, wake up. So the next person you're going to hire is a person who can brief and work with digital employees. It's also a bit what Günther said, you know, and also, you know, to be honest, Matteo spoke about it a lot, you know. So let's open Excel. because Excel is the place where you really have multi-agent frameworks. And you're going to do a data dump from SAP. And they will be your employees, the tenure, the job category, the compensation that they get. I don't know, the promotion ready, goal attainment, the attrition, learning and development cycles and training hours, recruiting, who you hired. And when you give this to somebody in HR, you say, okay, analyze this. First of all, they need 5 days. And I'm going to show you how to analyze this. So I'm going to press into speaking into it. You can have it also. It's called Windows H. And on the Mac, it's double control. And you're going to say, hey, man, I'm here doing a keynote in front of many people. Wait, let's not do it like this. Let's do it a bit more clever, right? Let me show you how you're going to analyze data from now on. So we're going to switch. Good. So you should be able to see me, I reckon, and hear me. And if not, you have to type to me on the chat that you can't hear me. I don't know. Good. And then you're going to walk, and then you're going to go and grab a coffee. So you're going to grab your coffee. And then you're going to go and make yourself comfortable. The best is you sit somewhere on the terrace. And then, yeah. No, wait, let's turn it around. Then it's more fun. There we go. And then you're going to put up your legs. And then you're going to think, how are we going to query this thing? Oh, this is a very difficult Excel. And then you will say something like, hey, man, I have a keynote in front of all these people. And I really need to blow their socks off, like, let's pretend you're the chief AI officer of this company. And I want the most uncomfortable findings that there are in this thing. And then I want a tab with diagrams, cluster diagrams of average base salary by department, split by gender, put them all on a sheet called pay gap. And then I want a third sheet with promotion readiness. If everybody has the same score of promotion, it means that the manager is not tough enough for that person or not honest enough for that person. And then make me a totally new tab where you're going to show me all the managers with their direct reports. Then one more thing. I really want to improve this company. So make me a 30-day plan, a 60-day plan, a 90-day plan. Go on, blow my socks off. And a bit like Matteo said multiple agents will work on it. So you're going to drink your coffee. This will take about 8 minutes. And now the power that I'm giving you, or what I'm showing you here, is it's so easy to do that all of you can go back to showing your managers, hey, I went to MDI and I really, really understood how to use AI agents. So Malcolm talks a lot of blah, blah. Let's look a bit at the results. Back again. Okay. Let me share my screen. Now, to not lose 8 minutes, I just did a little bit of a recording, right? This is it. Hey man, I have a keynote, blow their socks off, etc. And this is going to go for about 8 minutes. After about a minute and a half, the first tab will be created. And you will see it that it pops up like this. It's like instant. It's fantastic. And then we wanted diagrams, remember? So then diagrams about the gender pay gap analysis. These are pivot tables which are created by Copilot. This is a multi-agent framework. These diagrams are coming now, while you're still having a coffee. By the way, you can do this on the toilet. You can sit on the toilet, on Copilot, on your phone, and ask for this entire analysis. And then it's going to go on and go on, and a 60 and 90-day plan, etc. Zack, 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 zack. Now, the thing is, even looking at data is sometimes difficult. So let's take this page here. How do I make this easier to see with Copilot? You prompt like this. Nice. Now the sheet with the employees. So a bit what I explained is it's not only asking the AI to do many things, it's prompting it correctly. To get a sheet like this to basically look like this, the prompt is nice. This sheet is really hard to read, man. Can't you make it nicer, sexier, and easier to read? And shit. Let's go, man. So I go into companies and they say, oh, Copilot is not so good. It's not so useful. I'm like, wait, stop. Get anybody in your company to open Excel, speak into Excel, and say, make this nicer and shit. And this crazy analysis comes out. So for me, I really don't understand this. Günther is saying it's important that we collaborate with AI as a superpower. So talk into your HR data, please. Then, when you get CVs, we get CVs, we're applying, people are applying to work at our companies. How do you analyze this? Well, you guys all have Copilot. So there's this thing called App Builder. And in here, very similar, you will say, analyze all these CVs, make me an app, make me a few diagrams. It must look really cool. And excuse me to be profane in front of such important people. Don't forget to say at the end, and shit. And now let's look a bit at what happens. Because for me, in whoever speaks Spanish here, it's fantastic. There's a word called alucinante. Alucinante in Spanish means like it blows your socks off. You cannot imagine, right? So you're basically just speaking into Copilot and saying, do this analysis. And then it'll work for about not 8 minutes. Well, yeah, 8 minutes again, 8 minutes again. So now let's open. And by the way, it's safe. It's on Copilot. It's where your data is and everything, right? And these 8 CVs, this is what comes out. Here are the candidates ranked. I can do that, Malcolm. No, you can't. You can't create a criterion radar. You cannot create a skill heat map like this. You cannot create a language coverage per person. You cannot understand where the bias is of the data by saying, create me an app, compare 8 CVs, and shit. And this works because of what Günther and Matteo were saying. Behind this is a very powerful multi-agent framework. So now we need to go and hire people who talk into Excel, who got it, and not make me a diagram, who speak 10 minutes while putting their feet up. We need to hire people who understand how to build, which is what Theo was saying was all the time, all the time. We need to understand that we need to record every company meeting, every company meeting. I claim when I talk to CEOs of $30 billion companies, but also of companies with 10,000 people in Austria, that they don't understand their business. Who recorded the presentation of Günther? Because if you didn't record it, you didn't understand it. Because my friend Ebbinghaus says, you forget 60% within an hour. When you're going for the coffee break in 6 minutes, you have forgotten 60% of what you said. But anybody using AI, and he said Claude, for example, you put the transcript and you say, make me a sexy dashboard of what Günther said. Well, let's look at what came out. I know it's a bit small, maybe. He talked about disruption. He talked about 6 principles, AI cooperation, leadership. Malcolm, I don't like text. Okay, ask for mental models. Ah, he spoke about the genie in the bottle. 3 wishes become 100 wishes. The airplane, one cockpit, one pilot. It's 1,000 times more powerful, but humans need to control it. No, I'm sorry. If you don't record meetings in your company, you have no idea what's happening. And now we understood we need to record meetings. We understand we never need to write emails again. We can agree or disagree. Probably Matteo and I would disagree on this. Günther spoke about his kids. So my kids, they're the best in class in maths, Sachunterricht, and like 1 or 2 other things. And 2 years ago, they were not very good. What do? They come to me and say, Papa, I need to learn about this Hochofen. I have no idea what a Hochofen is. I say, ask Claude. You know what they do? They take this picture of their school scarf, Hochofen. Can you please look at it? Make me a dashboard. And then they get this, where she can type it inside. When she gets mistakes, she said, make it more difficult. And after a certain time, it's so funny, actually, I will look for it. The word in German is gemein. AI made it too hard. So he said, you are, wie sagt man gemein? Aline, you have to jump in or anybody. You're unfair. And I'm like, wait, you're training people in your company. Uh, how are you doing web-based training? Like from the 90s? Or are you giving everybody a Claude license or a Copilot license and say, build yourself your app to learn? Learn in Ukrainian, in French, in Japanese, instead of only in English or German, which is all the stuff we have. So you will get to a point where you will also have a second brain of the company. In our company, every email, every file, every recorded meeting, everything comes together in the second brain. I'm sure that Günther and also Matteo have their second brain because both of them talked about OpenClaw. And when you have a second brain, before I come to you, I need to understand, what will I tell these people? Well, they're really clever, oof. So I will query my second brain. Look at how I queried it. It's a bit small, but I'll tell you. I'm speaking to HR managers at MDI. Make a crazy multi-step analysis. Don't mention customers. How does leadership change? Okay. And it's going to work. It's going to work for about 45 minutes. And then I can be in front of you and say what Matteo said. You are managing 7 humans. You need to learn how to manage 5 humans with 20 AI agents. And this thing is as direct as I am, It says you need to become the manager of people to the head of HR and AI agents. And then you're going to understand how to look at a lot of data. So we understand that all of us in this room have the power to put up our feet and speak 20 minutes into AI, into Excel, into App Builder, into CoWork. All of these things are safe to work on your enterprise data. So let's say you're hiring a new person in your team. Would you hire a person who talks with data with her voice, builds turns meetings into plans, builds second brains? For sure you would. But now I will be honest with everybody in this room. Look at the last 10 people you hired. Sorry. You all hiring AI Neanderthals. And most of our employees are AI Neanderthals. I'm sorry. And Günther said it very nicely. Günther said, it's our leadership responsibility. Now, the question I have is, let's say you're applying for the next job, for the next promotion. Hey, would you hire yourself? Are you on the skill level of Matteo and Günther, who are talking with their data, building tools, recording all the meetings? Or are you the AI Neanderthal? So I don't want to trash you too much. So I want to give you a message of hope, like Matteo did at the end. This is not something you can delegate. You cannot go to your organization and say, hey, you need to speak into AI like Malcolm did. No, you need to do it. When you cross a crevasse, you need to do it. You cannot delegate it. So yeah, Copilot is expensive. Get lost. I live close to Zurich, an hour. I cannot have a coffee with a croissant for 20 euro. Forget it. And companies are saying, oh, 30 euros expensive. I'm like, yeah, giving this report to KPMG and EY to do the analysis will cost you 10K that they look at your data. But you can speak into it for 30 euro a month. So I will repeat what my other colleague said, and my timer just went off. Do the work yourself. Go and hire and promote people who are not with Microsoft Office on the job description, but Copilot, Cowork, Cloud Code, Codex. And for those who don't know these words, don't worry. You will learn them very soon. Get Microsoft Office out of your job description. Okay. Good, guys. I will stop. I hope I was not too brutal to you. If I was in person, I'd be much brutal. But I hope you had a bit of fun. And thank you that you listened to me also virtually.
Malcolm, come back on the bigger screen. So we have one more question for you. There were some questions, but there must be time for one. Malcolm, can you give us a tip on one thing we need to change in our daily routine as leaders with a team? That was one of the questions.
Yes, for sure. Last year, I was also after Günther. Yes. So I recycled a lot of things that he said. Today, it was such a pleasure again, even augmented with Matteo. Günther said a sentence: build your superpower. And I love it. I can show you all the things in the world, like we do with companies. But only if you sit down today and you try that thing with Excel and the app builder, and every day you try a new skill. Do you understand the power you have? You can go back to your employees and say, can you analyze this in an hour? They will think you're a chicken. But because you're doing it in front of them, you're radically changing the entire organization, because they're like, my manager's doing it in 8 minutes. So build your superpower. I will steal with pride the words of Günther.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making this happen.
Of course we missed you. Of course we missed you on stage, but honestly, you couldn't have demonstrated the coffee on your terrace in that socks off style, because I guess there would not be enough space here. Thanks you. Thank you very much, and all good for your wife and for the circumstances that you couldn't come. Hope it will get healed soon.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, just get started right now.